Hello and welcome to the Connection Compass podcast. In this episode, I'm joined once Hello and welcome to the Connection Compass podcast. I'm your host, Andrea Louise Evans. To find out more about my work, please visit Seasonally Guided. The details are in the show notes. In today's episode on the podcast, I'm joined once again by heart healing coach Ashley Mondor for a deeply reflective and expansive conversation. Together, we explore what it really means to slow down, turn inwards, and reconnect with the wisdom of the heart. We talk about finding the courage to choose joy, navigating the discomfort of stillness, and the powerful alchemy that happens when we do the inner work. Ashley shares her insights on moving beyond hyper-independence, learning to surrender, and embodying the balance of yin and yang within. We also dive into the energetic shift from the year of the snake to the year of the horse, shedding old layers so we can move forward with trust, openness, and intention. From dreams and intuition to the power of an open heart, this conversation is an invitation to soften, listen, and follow the quiet what ifs, guiding your path along the way. Hello, Ashley. It's so good to see you again. I can't believe I've got you here on the podcast again. I just love our conversations, though. They're just beautiful. So thank
Oh
you
my
for
god.
coming back.
Thank you for having me. I'm literally, vibrating out of my skin right now. I'm so excited. I just love you. I love your face. I love what we talk about. Thank you for having me back. I so appreciate you.
And so, how is life? How's life at the moment? Is it good?
Oh, oh my god, it's amazing. It's so good, my friend. I'm telling you, I had to find a lot of courage at the end of last year. I was in a corporate job and I had the six-figure salary, right? I had the thing that I thought would make you happy, and then I was like, "Why am I not happy? Why do I, really not enjoy Monday through Friday?" Which when you think about it, that's a lot of life to not enjoy.
Mm.
So, I decided to gather my courage and find a part-time job that was actually, really fun and build my business on the side, and so I'm doing that now. It's been, I think, 7 months since I made that leap, and I'm telling you, life is so good when you choose fun and joy, man. It's so
Yeah.
good. So, thank you for asking me, and how are you?
Yeah, I'm really good. So I I obviously went back into the workplace out of necessity, but actually I took a step back from doing all the bits that I do apart from the podcast, and it was really good actually because I did quite a lot of self-reflection and I had quite a lot of inner work to do considering I've been doing the inner work for about 14 years now. Like 14 years. It never seems to end, but in a good way. So really leaning into vulnerabilities and insecurities and self-doubt um and bizarrely once I did that things started shifting forward in little momentous ways and um I did a retreat last week and I opened with a somatic yoga session and I did some Reiki and then partway through the day the organizers were like, "What we need is another massage therapist." And I was like, "Oh, I'm a massage therapist." I forgot that I was I always forget to mention it because it was so long ago. Um, I haven't done it for ages. And I was a little bit rusty, but I was into it. I was just so into the whole day. It was just really beautiful. And yeah, it was really lovely. And then yesterday, obviously been continuing with the podcasting. You're my third podcast episode today. And yesterday, I went to an event um, called Spring Into Media, which was about pitching to the media. And that was really good. Yeah, really
Mm,
good.
talk about expansion in many ways.
Yeah, and I just really feel these like shifts perhaps in the way that I've always wanted, but you know, often we don't know why we're pulled back, and obviously there's a reason behind it. Sometimes there's lessons, but I think then once you've gone through them, you'll know that you'll probably use them for somebody else. You'll probably use them to help somebody else. I imagine, down the line. Yeah.
That that is wisdom and being an alchemist, and I think when you do things like that, I totally resonate. When I went back to corporate, I went back kicking and screaming, I was so mad. I really didn't wanna be there, especially when you've touched freedom and you've touched fulfillment, you know? And like you said, well, I had to do it out of necessity, and there was so much that I learned by being in a place I did not wanna be, and now knowing on the other side, it's like you can see everything for what happens, and you're like, "Oh, yeah, I really needed that in many ways. Thank you so much."
Yeah, and one of the other strange things that happened was I kept thinking, "Well, how am I gonna make everything work?" Because I literally have just 1 day at the mo 1 day to work on everything, excuse me. But then all of a sudden, things started to rearrange themselves, and I could start seeing space, and I was like, "Oh, but I could do this there, and I could do this there, and, I don't have to be on it every single week." I can there's space kind of opening up. So, I would actually love to do some more Reiki and massage because I really, really enjoyed that day. And I'm in the process of moving um yoga online as well to um pre-recorded sessions. It is not because I don't love teaching yoga, but again, it just opens up some space for me to do things slightly differently. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I love that. I think the way that you flowed with your life, and then you had new perspectives and things, and, like, even seeing the space also, side note, I at least once a week, if not twice a week, I follow people on YouTube who lead yoga sessions or somatic yoga sessions, and I love it. So I'm really excited that you are going to be bringing this to the world in whatever way you feel called, but, like, I actually do those things that you are bringing forward, which is really cool.
What has been really interesting, I was talking about it earlier, is that, somatic's quite gentle, isn't it? Even though it's quite rigorous on the fascia, outwardly it looks very gentle and smooth. And I've noticed that people are really struggling with kind of being with themselves and sitting still and, you know, whether that's the fallout of how we've lived our lives at, like, very top speed and at pace, not really noticing ourselves, feeling discomfort in the stillness, or whether it's just perhaps it doesn't feel safe in a world that's very chaotic and in conflict at the moment. I don't really know. Yeah.
I feel that. I think also we currently live in a system that prioritizes everything being outside of you and then keeping it fast paced. And if we can have you scroll your life away and get quick hits of dopamine and never actually look for fulfillment and never actually listen to what your body's trying to tell you, you're going to override your signals and your systems and the things telling you this isn't healthy. This is not aligned with you. There's so much more for you if you were to slow down. And so I think it's so important that your work, continues to expand and that you have the courage and the confidence to bring it forward because we really need it. We really need people to be sitting with themselves because how else do you hear your heart and your intuition, you know?
Yes, and those 2 things, heart and intuition, are so important for our world right now, and, there's so much misinformation, disinformation, there's a lot of conflict with different reporting streams, and I really feel it's really a time to turn inwards and really think about whether this is true for it. Does this feel true? Does this feel good? Does this sit okay with me? Because I'm not quite sure it does, I'm sure, we've all come across kind of news reports and thought, oh, hold on a minute, I'm not quite sure about that. Or, you know, um, that doesn't feel quite right for me. Or, yeah, I kind of get that. I think that discernment, that intuitive knowing is really a really key skill at the moment.
Oh, you knocked it out of the park. Truly, the discernment piece, and how else do you cultivate discernment? Unless you're sitting with yourself and, like, actually filtering and seeing what that feels like to you,
Yeah.
especially, like, the news and the media. So, my degree is in marketing and communications, and I took a journalism class because I had to see, do I wanna go that route or this route? And I remember the first thing our teacher told us was that if it bleeds, it leads. And now you sit with this and you see every single thing you're seen or shown on the media is violence, it's anxiety, it's fear driven, and that shifts your nervous system out of dysregulation. And how do you make decisions from a place of fear, worry, and anxiety, right? And then we battle each other. And when we battle each other, we're not looking at, oh, the system is the problem. It's not you versus me. It's us collectively being like, this is not working. But we don't stop to see it because we don't stop. We just keep consuming. So again, like, I'm just so proud of you and like we're alive for this time for such a specific reason and it's like, oh, thank God. We've got each other, you know?
Yeah, yeah, and that certainly the conversations that I'm having on the podcast, they just fill me with so much hope and, gratitude, and you kind of think it's going to be okay. It's going to be rough, it might get really rough, but ultimately there's a lot of good people really grounded doing excellent work, and even if that's internal work, it's not necessarily external what they're learning about themselves, they're bringing it out into the world anyway. Yeah.
Mm, I love that. I actually just heard a quote, if I can share it.
Yeah, sure.
Yesterday. So
Yeah.
one of my favorite teachers right now, his name is Dr. David Clements, and he was a theoretical physicist who had this spiritual awakening through a remote viewing experience.
Mhm.
And then he started connecting with his guides, his higher self, all this stuff. And he said that everything that we're seeing right now is really the collapse of a system that we will be rebuilding anew. And he said, our work right now is to come home to ourselves and to really connect with our higher selves or our expanded selves. And it's not really about hope. And he said that it's about trusting. And he said there's a hole in hope, but there's a you in trust. And so it starts with you and bringing that through you forward, like through the regulated nervous system, through our hearts connecting, right? Through following what makes you feel alive and things like that. So it's just like, I trust and know that what's coming for us is so beyond anything we could ever dream of because someone like you exists, someone with a heart like yours, right?
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, and yours too. Yeah, and, you know, yeah, I am totally on board with that, about the Dr. Clemens quote, and about it is absolutely about trust, and it starts with us. It really does. When I first started teaching yoga, obviously the first thing I did was to bring people to the breath, and I would say, that's that initial connection with yourself, but I've noticed a shift. And now the first thing that I do is move towards soothing the nervous system through the eyes and through the warmth of a person's their own hands, to feel that kind of coming down from a sympathetic state into a parasympathetic state, to self-soothe, to build that trust with yourself that you can soothe yourself in a gentle, with one gentle move.
Oh, I just love you so much. Good God.
Thanks. Love you too. So obviously when we started the year of 2026 or back end of 2025, we heard quite a lot of there's a lot of noise about it. We're going into the year of the horse and, horse energy. What was 2025 like for you in terms of the year of the snake? Did you find yourself shedding quite a lot and having that Scorpio placement too? shed a lot.
Oh.
Shed spences.
In the Chinese zodiac or astrology, I'm a wood snake, and good God, I had so many things come up for me that I really didn't know were there, like old patterns and things,
Mm.
especially around confidence and taking up space and speaking my truth and being seen for more of my magic and more of my weirdness really and the spiritual things that I believe in and even stuff like in relationships and being worthy of love and all of that. And so for me personally, I had a lot of stuff come up that I had to really sit with and be like, is this true? Is this mine even? Where did I pick this up? Right. And then how do you move through that transformation process? How do you stay in your body instead of just bypassing the big emotions or the big fears, really, or whatever the stories that I was telling myself? So that, man, oh man, it was, it was a big year for me. What about for you?
Yeah, the same, really similar. I remember getting to I'd been kind of shedding all year, lots of different things coming up. I started to do devotional practices. I think perhaps I just started that when we did our chat for the for the anniversary of the year of the podcast, and I was really leaning into that, and I had a really big brick wall, and there was a financial loss there, and I really thought, I can't do this. I cannot do this anymore. But what I learned from that is that I was trying to approach it from the old me, and so that very, um, I'm very I just go for things. So get an idea and I just go for it and I take action and I'm quite fast paced. And I say if I go out and I'll go out and I'll deliver a teaching session around it, and that's how I've worked. But actually, I was being asked to soften and really kind of come into that feminine energy and allow things to unfold instead of just having an idea and going, just like executing like the actions like all the time. And it was hard. Like I was like, why is this happening to me? Like I don't want to do this anymore. And what's the point in all this and everything? But actually, I thought, yeah, that's what that yeah, the world doesn't really need me in that kind of fast-paced mode anymore. It needs me self to soften. How can I expect other people to soften and go with the flow if I'm not doing that myself? And, you know, um, I ha and I had to learn to be comfortable with that as well. Back to trust. Yeah,
Mhm.
back to trust, trusting that it's gonna be okay instead of controlling because it doesn't feel safe to surrender and just let go and just allow things to unfold. And, you know, I don't think it means that you're completely passive, does it? You can still take action, but it's slightly different. I don't know, it feels perhaps slightly different to someone that's perhaps going for it in a masculine energy. Mm.
Oh my god, this lands for me. I to to what you're speaking to, I learned that lesson too, and it's really interesting when I grew up hyper independent, and if I could control everything, my god. I'm part of a book that just published
Yeah.
this month about it's called She Who Flows, and I had this experience that I had basically a prophetic vision, and it hit me so hard that I blacked out of my body. I fainted. And I when I came to, it was like I pierced the veil of amnesia that we're all given so that we can really explore this experience in density. And I saw life so differently and then started living in the flow of life instead of trying to control everything, really out of a place of fear. And my life is so much richer and deeper and more meaningful now that you balance the masculine and the feminine, right? The
Yeah.
heart intelligence of saying, "There's something in here for you, that's why you feel alive or curious or joyful or playful." And then the masculine energy of allowing yourself to take action steps towards that inspiration, and then allowing the feminine energy within you to really surrender to, "Where is this taking me in the river of my life?"
Yeah.
And in that balance, I was so out of freaking whack and only really in my masculine until I had that experience, and I was like, "Oh, wait, oh my god, this is the slowing down and the trusting and flowing and not
Yeah.
gripping onto an outcome that I'm like, "Oh, this has to happen this way, and if it doesn't, what does that mean about me?" You know?
But I think when you're hyper independent, because I've had that experience of being hyper independent, I think it's very difficult. You even know what it feels like to surrender. S- You know, what does it feel like? Because you logically you're thinking, "Well, I'm surrendering." Like,
Wait, that's so true though. Like this frustration, like, "Have I not surrendered enough? Like, what am I doing wrong?" And I totally feel you. And I think for me, surrender, and I don't, this may be different for everyone else. For me, surrender is, how present can I be? How can I trust that actually every moment is meeting me with exactly what I'm meant to experience specifically? And taking whatever I don't like or the contrastive experience and allowing it to actually be something that's like a lesson or a piece of wisdom or something I'll be able to teach on later in life or something that just helps me see myself more clearly. So really, for me, surrender is kind of like a different frame of mind and kind of like you said, when you said softening, I'm like, "Oh yeah, I am held by something divinely intelligent." Right?
yeah,
I can trust the flow of my life. And
yeah.
I wonder what surrender means to you.
Pretty similar actually, and um but I think I've had quite a bit of work to do around knowing that I'm held, but um, I think somatic yoga has really helped me with that actually because, I've been doing weights, I've been doing circuits, which is very, kind of strength and very kind of repetitive, very repetitive kind of movements. But then when you come to the somatics, it's completely different and you're feeling into your body and where the flow of your art, where how everything wants to go, and there's a lot of exploration into the body, and I think, I remember, lying there and a lot of it's rolling around on the floor as well, and it's like, "Well, what does this feel like?" And it was like, "Oh, I didn't know that felt like that." So I think surrendering has come with the somatic yoga practice, I think, and learning to what and just I think that kind of exploration and of moving the legs and the arms and your whole body, and it's quite fluid and it's more about, oh, this is what this feels like. So then that externally then plays out inside internally. So it's like, oh, this is what surrendering feels like. It's just not prejudge, not judging how this situation's gonna go, allow it to unfold. It's like even you have the in somatics, you even have the words to support that kind of unfolding. Mhm.
Oh, that's delicious. I mean, honestly, it really is. Especially when you're saying, "I'm so present that I can feel the ground," you know? And what that
Yeah,
feels like in my body. And I think there's something a lot of people, especially when you have religion, we're taught that God is outside of you, right? Your source of power. There's a hierarchy, there's a top, you're worthy if you're wealthy, obviously, blah, 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 all these things. And then you start coming home to your body and it's like, wait, I get to be in a living temple, and how could I not be supported with something like my heart beats on its own? You know, like, your skeleton changes every 7 years without you needing to do anything.
yeah,
Like, how are we not supported? And, obviously, people choose incarnations where there is, like, drastically different hardships and challenges and things, but even then, the wisdom of you exists on purpose. Wow, like, how are we not held?
yes, yes. And so leaving 2025 behind and the shedding of our skins and our layers, we come to the year of the horse, Chinese astrology, which I have to say it's not my forte, but I was really taken aback by the noise around it, the volume of poise. It was almost like little whispers. It's the year of the horse. It's the year of the horse, and then all of a sudden it kind of explodes, and everybody's talking about the year and the horse and the energy of the horse. Now we're going to be moving at like a fast pace, and I was more like, "Let's just see how it unfolds." Like, I feel, I feel like at the beginning of 2025, it had said, "This is the year of the snake, and I'm gonna shed loads and loads of layers." But now I feel like I can speak about it in a more authentic way because I've lived it. And for me, it feels similar the same to the year of the horse. So I don't know how it's gonna be, how the energy plays out, but I'm open to seeing. What about you?
Oh, god, I love that. I What's interesting, I was noticing this thing around the year of the snake, and as a Scorpio, right, we are usually associated with, obviously, scorpions and snakes and things like that. But there was this energy, like, it's this scary, really hard thing, and part of it, if you think about if you grew up religious, it's like the serpent is evil. The serpent led Adam and Eve to their destruction, and the serpent really was knowledge and wisdom and death and rebirth and those beautiful cycles of life and stuff. And so I was like, "Huh." And then people were really excited about the horse, partially because I think twofold. One is we we have this notion, at least in the US, of, like, conquering horses, conquering that energy, that taming that free wild spirit, and so it's like, "Oh, and they're fast," right? Like, if they're wild Mustangs, they're free, but we can also tame them and really own their experience for our purposes, but the horse also, if you are in the energetic space, people heal through the horse aura. And I think people are excited about the idea of moving fast because we've been conditioned, right? And seeing
Yeah.
what happens with that energy. But if you're around a horse and you can sense energy, you can receive messages from them. They can actually help you heal your energy in your body and help people emotionally and therapeutically and things like that. So I think really the question is, when we have these themes, it's like, do you want to subscribe to them and why? Like, what is your intention with the fire horse, right? Like, or the element of fire or the energy of the horse? And what are you going to do with your life in honor of those energies and your intention? So, for me personally, I know that people are excited about it because they're taught this is what this means. For me, it's like, okay, to me, the horse is confident, it's graceful, it's free. And how can I live in alignment with those and see what happens? Fire energy, amazing. Like, that feels alive to me. So for you, like, what comes up for you?
Well, I really love that you've gone into the depths of the horse, so you've not just stayed, like, at the surface, you've, like, really dig down and, like, looked at the symbolism. I think that's really beautiful, and I I wish we could do more of that in our world. I mean, I do, and I use it creatively, but I wish other people would slow down and, not just see the fire, the fast pace, but actually dig a little bit down and think about how that means, how that comes into their life. Um, so I think it was like what we we're talking about before. I don't want to get kind of caught up with this is how it's going to be. Um, I want to see how it unfolds and perhaps talk about it this time next year about how it unfolded, how the energy played out. We certainly have quite a lot of Aries energy coming up into April. Bizarrely, I have quite a bit of fire in my chart. I'm a bit of everything. I've got Gemini Sun, Sagittarius, which is fire, rising Scorpio Moon, and then I've got a couple of things where Aries is in a few, different chart places in my chart as well. And yeah, I'm just willing to see how it unfolds. I was very, it was it's fine people being excited about it, but I was like a bit like, "Oh, hold on. Let's pull the reins back a little bit and just think about this. Let's just see how this unfolds, how what it's going to feel like." Because I suppose we don't know, and things seem so chaotic and there's conflict, and let's just take each day as it comes and see what happens. So yeah, that's my shedding of my old skin, and now like in that surrender mode. So I noticed that you're having some amazing dreams. When did they start?
Oh my god. That's such a good question. So, for most of my childhood, I would only remember extremely violent, terrifying nightmares. I never remembered my dreams. And 2 years ago, I gave up alcohol, and my dreams came in extremely vivid, metaphoric ways, connecting with spirit, connecting with, like, galactic beings, messages and things for my own healing. So, really 2 years ago, and what a wild ride, okay?
So did it had you'd not started Reiki then, or had you done some
Oh,
Reiki there?
yeah, so I like, years ago, I went through the whole process of going from level 1 to master teacher attunement in
Yeah.
Usui Reiki, and then last year, I came across a woman teaching and attuning to angelic Reiki, and I I have always loved what the angels feel like to me, like, what they stand for, unconditional love, support, guidance, even fierceness and protection and things, and so I went into it, and that modality changed my life.
Yeah.
Truly, like, so much so that, like, the synchronicities are crazy, like, and I can't even explain all of them because I just sit back and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, you know what? There's something so much bigger than me supporting this process," and as someone like, we talked about being hyper independent, it's like, if I can control everything and be the one for these results and blah, 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 and then you take a step back and it's like, "Wait, I have a team supporting me, like we all do, but you have to allow it to
Yeah.
happen."
Mm, yeah, and so I recognised, when you talk about your dream, which we're gonna talk about your Lego dream at the moment because it was so funny, I couldn't stop laughing but I was like, "I know what type of dream she's having," and I used to have these. So I was about 35, 36, maybe 35, between 35 and 37, and, I've been going through all the different stages, levels of Reiki, and I started working with these cards that are no longer in print anymore because they were felt that they were old fashioned, like out of date concepts. They were like based on Jungian archetypes.
Mm,
And somebody told me this story. I don't know how true it is, but they're out of print because the person that devised them, they felt that they were no longer relevant to modern day society. Well, I absolutely love them, and I would have these absolutely crazy, like, bonkers dreams on them when I'd use them, and, it was all very vivid dreams, and it was all about masculine and feminine and shadow and light, and I would appear, like, in these different bodies, and sometimes I would have, like, blonde hair with, like, a white power suit, and then sometimes I'd be, like there'd be like a darker energy or like I'd be there with like a bit they were absolutely crazy. They were bonkers. And I was like, oh, I think Ashley's like having something similar to me when you were talking about your Lego dream. Can we talk about your Lego dream?
oh.
That was so funny.
S So I know exactly where this stemmed from. I am on TikTok, and, I chose to be on TikTok because for a really long time, I judged the platform, and then I was like, "Wait,
Mm,
judgment is a thing that I can heal within myself, right? Because I'm a whole being and I'm worthy of love, and so are these creators." So I went on and had been on there for like a year and a half, and I started meeting like really cool people and engaging with them. But I've been in business for 9 years, like my numbers aren't massive, right? Like I'm really
yeah.
here for resonance and not like this huge visibility thing. But I came across a woman on TikTok who her story is crazy. She basically talks about how she was like tortured by the CIA and she speaks in almost like this computer language. And she was teaching about how you can control your reality and like it's editable code basically. And so she says, like, protocol activate, da 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 da. And then she'll like call in the elements like earth, wind, fire, blah, blah, blah. And so I don't know what compelled me. But I was like, I'm gonna speak her framework as she's saying it. So I just was being playful and I followed her along. And the moment that so I was like, protocol, activate, earth, air, wind, fire, ether. And then void. And the moment I said void, my power went out. And I freaked out because I was like, "What did I just do?" And so I'm sitting there and I'm like, "Okay, well, I actually," and part of her protocol and framework is you have to close the gate, but I didn't know what gate I was closing because I was just in it. And so I go and I'm trying to figure out like, "Oh my god, how do I close this gate? Because what did I do in my home? Like my computer beeped, shut off, everything went black, like everything." And so I'm sitting there, and as I go to try and get to the part where she closes the gate, my phone freezes right as she's about to close the gate. And I'm like, "Oh, no." So I close everything down on my phone. I go back in. I start hit playing or whatever. She's going through it. The moment she closes the gate, it freezes again. And I'm like, "This is for me. I don't know what it is, but I'm freaking out." And I go back in for a third time, turn off my Wi-Fi, hit play, and it actually plays all the way through. And I sit back and I'm like, "Okay, I don't know what that was. It could be a coincidence. It could be whatever, but clearly I am a powerful creator being. Even if it was just coincidence, it doesn't matter. How is it the moment I invoked the void that happened?" And so I sat with it, I reflected on it, and I made a TikTok video that was like, I came across a woman who speaks that like life is editable code. And I had this experience. And if you're curious, you can listen to this insightful podcast where it's called, that's my podcast, but the episode is called A Glitch in the Simulation.
Yeah.
And I shared that story and I was like, part of it is I don't know if that was real. I don't know if her story is real. I She comes off as a little bit of chaotic and, like, talking about torture from the CIA, and talking about discernment and, like, but I just wanted to speak to my experience, and so I published it, and that TikTok went, like, semi-viral, and I've never had that happen. And so I'm, like, getting hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, like, following me, and they're commenting on my stuff, and they're like, "I love her, I love blah, blah, blah." And then I have people starting to say I'm in psychosis, and they're saying I'm a terrible influencer, and how badly do I need attention. And so I am processing, and I feel my heart literally pounding in my chest because I'm like, how can you judge me in a video clip that's under 2 minutes, right? Because over here, you know me, I talk about coherence and stabilizing your nervous system and, trusting yourself, and these people are making snap decisions based on a clip. And so I'm trying to work through my nervous system of being misperceived, being misjudged, feeling like people don't see me or understand me really is the thing, and having to protect myself from these people who don't care. So I have a dream where I wake up in this dream and I'm talking to someone and I start feeling like my saliva is getting really thick and I'm like, "What is this?" And so then my saliva turns into like white and I'm like, "Oh my god, this is what is happening." And then I swear to you, I start pulling out little Lego heads, like little figurines, and they look like actors and actresses and like space cadets and things, and I'm pulling out these tiny Lego people. And and after the dream, I was like, "Isn't it interesting that my expression," and, because your heart connects to your throat, right? So it's like
Yeah.
being perceived, misjudged, all my fears really were coming up. And then to have little models come out and people being like, "I know you," but they're only seeing one little Lego version of me, and how my
Yeah.
psyche was trying to process that.
That was so clever. Really, really clever. It's interesting. That it's just fascinating, isn't it? It's really strange when you have those dreams. Isn't it strange how you connect the meaning when you know exactly what they mean? Even though their rants seem random, you go, "Oh, that's because of that. These people don't know me." It's so clever, isn't it?
It's so
It
oh, and, like, even the thought of in my dream with the Legos, like, they're all based on little models, of something, like, and they're all made from the same thing. So it's like when you start breaking out of a mold, who are you and how do you handle that? And I think it's so cool that we have dreams so that our psyches can process or calibrate or send you messages in a way for your conscious mind to be able to like, okay, pulling the threads together. Oh, here is my work. Oh my God, I actually am very afraid of what other people think about me. And thank God for the brain, to be fair. Oh,
Yeah. And so I know we need to finish soon. I just wanted to ask you then about I don't know if it connects to the people who were commenting on your post, or it probably does in a roundabout way. How would you say in that circumstances that there's a group of people within society where their hearts are so shut down and so closed that they can only see a narrow viewpoint of somebody else?
oh, this is a good question
Mm.
because so in all of my studies with the subconscious mind, I am really dug into it because I wanted to understand if you could work with something like your unconscious mind, which filters 95% of your reality, like how can you start working with belief systems and things like that? And your unconscious mind is filtering 2.3 plus million bits of information per second. That's a lot of information, right? And thank
Yeah.
God. Oh, like, thank God. But your conscious mind can only really handle, like, 126 bits of information, which in the grand scheme is like you holding up your thumb and looking at your thumbnail. That's basically how much your conscious mind it has access to at any moment, and so everything else is being filtered based on things like your belief system, the time, how you feel. Do you have a traumatic memory around this? Like, are you hungry? Is it nighttime? Stuff like that. And I had to sit back and realize, like, there are a number of people on the planet who have guarded their heart or armored themselves up because of a deep level of pain, of insecurity, of unworthiness, of trauma, of conditioning, and having this be shown to me, I realized that I was hyper focusing on the people who didn't like me versus all of the hundreds of people who were falling in love with me.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's easier to protect yourself from people who don't like you than to fall in love with those who already love you.
Yes. Mm.
And that's okay, like, it's also being okay that people aren't going to like you, and there's the inner child in us that's like, "But I want everyone to love me because I am nice and I want to be friends," you know? And then you come back and you're like, "And that's not my work. If they wanna have their hearts closed, okay, but man," and you know this, everything is more beautiful and richer and more meaningful and joyful when your heart is open and wise and discerning, right?
Yeah. And it's being open to that possibility and potential of your own life and what is possible to you. But when we're only just closed and very narrow and focused, it's very difficult to see that. You don't see, you don't see what's possible for you when your heart is closed down and guarded.
Yeah, and even more so, when I was going through trauma practitioner training through the Heart Math Institute, they're all about the intelligence of the heart. Your heart has 40,000 of its own neurons, and it's actually perceiving information in the quantum field and then pulling it through for your heart or for your brain to filter that information based on what you need. And so, to your specific, precise point, if you have a closed and guarded heart based on belief systems, based on traumatic memories, or whatever that is, your conditioning around being separate from source or from other people, man, like, and I know I could preach about this, but like, we're really here for love.
Yeah.
And people chose to meet me out of their own wounds or their own judgments because of their own level of love they have for themselves and what they will allow. And, like, you and me can see that, and really our work is to just be embodied, like, that's why somatic work like what you're doing and my stuff with the heart, like, that's why it's so important because 'cause we're here to lead a new way for allowing people to not only see the world in a new way and for what's coming, but to see themselves differently.
Yes, exactly. Yes. So what is next for you? What's
Oh.
you're working on? So
That's
you've got this wonderful book, haven't you? Yeah, that's really
oh my
exciting. Mm.
Oh my god, it's so exciting, especially because, when I was a little girl, I just wanted to write, like and I was like, "Man, it would be so cool if people wanted to read my writing," and then you get older and you're like, "Wait, I'm a terrible writer. Why would anyone ever no one could ever read that, like, I'm not Shakespeare, I'm not Hemingway, I'm not Stephen King," right? And you're like, "Everything's already been said," but I got the invitation to be part of a multi-author book of all women's voices, and this is called She Who Flows, and it's around guidance to surrendering to the divine feminine and witnessing the miracles of self-love. And I I am so proud because we are shifting into really allowing the divine feminine to come through us and to balance both of these energies that we all have and to amplify women's voices, right? Like, oh my God. And all of us, this is the thing, even you, like, if you're listening, you have this inherent wisdom. You have life experiences that are like, we all benefit collectively from hearing your voice or seeing your expression or what you create. And so we have fears, and I think fears are the blueprint for our becoming. And when you have a fear and you're like, but wait, something feels expansive, or like, oh my God, what if? And you follow it, like you make the world better because we get to learn from you.
Definitely, absolutely, and we need more of that, don't we, in the world at the moment.
Oh, yes.
Ashley, it's been amazing talk to you. I just love having our conversations. I really do, and hopefully see you again soon.
Oh my god, I love you. Are you kidding me? When you asked me, I, like, ran around my apartment, I screamed, I was like, "Shut up, what is my life?" Especially because we met on a whim. Like, we met in a
Yeah.
Facebook group, and then we just clicked, and it's like, "Oh, yeah, just follow your heart, that's all you gotta do."
And isn't that really weird? Because I was like, "Oh, I can't ask Ashley again. Oh my gosh, like, she'll think I'm, like, stalking her or something." But I was it was just like, it's just nice to have these conversations, I think, and bring the information forward. So thank
Yeah.
you for that.
Thank you, and I love you so much, and thank you for allowing me to be in your presence. You are magic.
Oh, bless you. Thank you. It is such a joy and a fulfillment of my dream to have these conversations on the podcast. Not everything will resonate with everybody, but parts of the conversation or all of the conversation will certainly resonate with some of you. And that can only bring comfort and a feeling that you are not alone. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Connection Compass podcast. If you think it will help someone else, please leave a review. And remember to keep talking, keep connecting for a more interconnected world.